As 2025 gradually draws to a close, perhaps you, too, are quietly asking yourself, how far have I come compared to what I once dreamed of? Amid the relentless pace of modern life, overwhelming workloads, family obligations, and social pressures, the feeling of losing control can silently seep into each passing moment. You may still wake up, go to work, fulfill your responsibilities, but deep down, there's a lingering question. Am I truly living or merely existing? We've all tried different ways to renew ourselves, read in books, listening to podcasts, and enrolling in personal development courses. Yet, something essential still seems to be missing. These methods tend to change our behaviors, but rarely reach deep enough to touch our minds or lay the foundation for true transformation. Here, Stoic philosophy emerges as a quiet yet powerful answer. Stoicism doesn't promise flashy life hacks. Instead, it offers you a path to the roots of inner peace, self-mastery, and the strength to stand firm amid adversity. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you want to recreate yourself, start with your mind. This year's end, you can choose to live like a Stoic. Every day, as you patiently master each thought, each habit, step by step, you walk toward your best self. Master your thoughts to master your life through the 6 lessons below, and by the end of 2025, this could be the turning point for your own rebirth if you dare to live as a Stoic. 1. Self-control. Pause for a moment. Imagine it's the last weeks of 2025. You're standing at the window, looking out over your city, your neighborhood, your world. You ask yourself quietly, have I changed? Am I really any different from the person I was 12 months ago? The world outside jobs, bills, deadlines, and relationships keep spinning, but somewhere inside, something is unsettled. Maybe you've spent the year chasing new goals, buying new books, streaming podcasts, or signing up for one more online course. But if you're honest, you still feel a restlessness, an itch that no quick fix has scratched. Why is lasting change so elusive? The Stoics would tell you, transformation never starts on the surface. It begins with a discipline as old as time, self-observation. Not just casual reflection, not a fleeting regret after a bad day, but a structured, courageous, almost sacred practice of watching yourself. To observe yourself is to stand outside your emotions and reactions, to study them without judgment, and to ask, is this who I want to be? Is this feeling, this habit, this reaction truly aligned with my values and my vision for my life? Epictetus, born a slave, became a great philosopher because he practiced this daily. He wrote, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. That is the work. Not dreaming, not regretting, but choosing to notice again and again who you are in this very moment and who you want to become." This is not about suppressing emotion or pretending you are always calm. On the contrary, the Stoic art is to see every feeling and urge, to name them, to make them visible, and then to guide them, not be guided by them. Think about the last time you got angry, maybe in a meeting, maybe on the road, maybe at home. Your jaw tensed, your voice sharpened. Did you notice, or did you just react? The Stoic would ask, where is this anger truly coming from? Is expressing it serving a higher purpose, or is it just my ego on autopilot? Self-observation means creating space between stimulus and response. You learn to watch your thoughts as they arise. When something triggers you, you pause, breathe, and ask, is this the kind of man I want to be? Is this reaction really necessary? That moment of pause is everything. In that pause, you reclaim your freedom. You move from being a puppet of circumstance to the author of your own story. When you train this discipline, you naturally reach the Stoic core, the dichotomy of control. Some things are within your power, your actions, your words, your judgments. Others, the weather, other people's opinions, and random setbacks are forever beyond you. When you observe yourself closely, you begin to let go of the illusion that you can control the world and instead invest in the one arena that is always yours, your inner world. But how do you build this capacity? Start small. When anger flares because your idea is rejected at work, or when you get stuck in traffic after a long day, don't rush to vent. Notice the physical sensations. Is your heart racing? Is your mind spinning stories of injustice or inadequacy? Ask yourself, where is this pain coming from? Is it pride? Is it impatience? Is it fear? By watching, you gain power over the feeling, instead of letting it command you. Marcus Aurelius, writing late at night, battered by wars and politics, reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That is the Stoic promise. The world can go mad, but your mind can remain a place of clarity and peace if you are vigilant. There's another tool the Stoics loved: voluntary hardship. Seneca advised his students to, from time to time, fast, sleep on the floor, or do without luxuries not for punishment, but to train resilience and gratitude. Try skipping a meal, leaving your phone behind for a morning, or walking to work in the rain instead of driving. These tiny hardships, chosen freely, teach your mind that comfort is not your master. You learn to appreciate what you have, and you become less afraid of what you might lose. And of course, modern science now confirms what the ancients practiced. Daily journaling and mindfulness boost resilience and self-mastery. Spend 5 minutes each evening writing honestly about your day. What triggered you? What did you handle well? Where did you slip? Practice pausing before you reply to a difficult email. Breathe before you enter a tough conversation. These are not big dramatic gestures. They are tiny acts of discipline that over time change everything. Real self-control is not about becoming emotionless, but about becoming unshakable. Emotions are not enemies. Uncontrolled reactions are. With practice, you'll find that setbacks, rejection at work, traffic, and disappointment become less threatening. You see them as moments to observe, reflect, and respond wisely. By the end of 2025, if you've committed to this Stoic path of self-observation and discipline, you'll see the results. You'll be calmer in chaos, clearer in conflict, less desperate for outside validation. You'll find your worth not in how the world treats you, but in how you treat yourself. You'll have become, little by little, the architect of your own character. So next time you feel the rush of anger or the sting of failure, remember, pause, observe. Ask yourself, what can I control right now? And then act with courage, clarity, and intention. That's how you begin to recreate yourself, not just for the end of this year, but for a lifetime. 2. Focus on yourself. Let's be honest. By the end of 2025, how many hours have you spent scrolling, comparing, reacting, living life on someone else's terms? In a world that screams for your attention, where trends rise and fall before you even catch your breath, it's frighteningly easy to lose yourself in noise. Maybe right now you feel scattered, as if your days are shaped by everyone but you. Bosses, social feeds, and expectations you never chose. There's a quiet ache, a gnawing question. What if I focused on myself, not out of selfishness, but as an act of self-respect? The core message of Stoicism is simple, but it isn't easy. The only person you are truly responsible for is yourself. The ancient Stoics didn't have smartphones, but they faced their own distractions, power, pleasure, and reputation. Their answer was to turn inward and build a life rooted in inner clarity, not outer applause. To recreate yourself like a Stoic means first to step away from the world's endless demands and return to the business of building your own character, day by day. Focus for a Stoic begins not with external goals, but with the foundation of 4 timeless virtues. First is practical wisdom. Ask yourself, is what I'm chasing truly meaningful or just another shiny distraction? In 2025, the pressure to keep up with trends, AI, hustle culture, biohacking, whatever is next, feels relentless. But practical wisdom means cutting through the noise. It means pausing before you say yes, before you act, and asking, will this choice make me wiser, kinder, more resilient in the long run? This is not cold logic. It's the art of protecting your energy for what really matters. Secondly, there is courage. Sometimes focusing on yourself means disappointing others. It means declining an opportunity because it doesn't fit your values, or speaking a truth even when your voice shakes. Real courage is not just facing danger, but facing disapproval, stepping out of the crowd, and holding your ground. Maybe in your career, you've felt the pressure to follow the money or the title, yet part of you wonders, what if I chose what is right for me, not just what is popular? Stoic courage is about loyalty to your deepest principles, even when it costs you comfort. Thirdly is justice. Stoics never confused focusing on themselves with forgetting the world. On the contrary, they saw self-development as a duty to be a better friend, a more reliable colleague, a stronger parent. Justice is treating others with fairness and respect, even when no one is watching. In your journey to recreate yourself, ask, am I lifting others as I climb, or am I shutting the world out? True focus means balancing your own growth with your responsibility to your community. Fourthly is temperance, moderation. Discipline is a Stoic's secret weapon. In the age of instant gratification shopping apps, endless streaming, and social media dopamine hits, it's easy to lose yourself in overindulgence. Temperance is the practice of self-restraint, choosing enough over more. When you focus on yourself, you learn to say no to the third drink, the late-night doom scrolling, the quick fix that always leaves you emptier. Temperance is not deprivation, but freedom from compulsion. So how do you anchor these virtues into everyday life? The Stoics were masters of practical exercises. Each night, set aside a few minutes to reflect. What did I do well today? Where did I react out of fear or habit? Did I act in line with my values, or did I drift? This gentle, honest review is not about shame, but about progress. Over time, you'll see patterns, and more importantly, you'll see growth. Next, It's tempting to have the last word, to defend yourself at every slight. But sometimes the wisest thing is to pause, to let words settle, to protect your peace. Next time you feel provoked, experiment with a moment of silence. You'll be amazed at what you learn about yourself and how much calmer your world becomes. And finally, journaling thoughts. Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most famous Stoic, filled page after page with questions, confessions, and reminders to himself. You don't need to write like a philosopher king. Just pick up a notebook and capture your thoughts each day, your struggles, your progress, your intentions. With time, journaling becomes a mirror, showing you the gap between who you are and who you want to be. Consider Ryan Holiday, a modern writer who rebuilt his life around Stoicism after burnout in the media world. He credits daily journaling and focusing on what he can control for his sense of stability. Or look at The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, who turned away from Hollywood's distractions to focus on discipline, health, and service to others. These men aren't superhuman. They just chose to direct their energy inward, not outward. Pause and ask, what am I truly chasing? Whose standards am I measuring myself against? What if happiness is not out there, but in the courage to focus on building my mind, my character, my daily actions? Remind yourself to recreate yourself like a Stoic by the end of 2025. You don't need a dramatic reinvention. You need small, intentional steps, questioning your habits, aligning your choices with your values, and showing up for yourself each day. Change isn't about becoming someone else. It's about finally becoming yourself, fully and honestly. Stoicism isn't a hack. It's a way home to what matters. The invitation is open. Will you take the first step and focus on yourself? Share your commitment below. Just words. I'm ready. 3. Observe yourself. Imagine, just for a moment, that your mind is a river. Not a quiet stream, but a wide surging current, thoughts tumbling over one another, feelings eddying in hidden pools, memories and hopes flashing by like driftwood in the flood. If you close your eyes and listen, can you hear it? The endless chatter, the half-formed worries, the echoes of arguments, the surges of anger, regret, longing, pride. For most of us, every day feels like being swept along by this river, its pace and direction changing without warning, pulling us this way and that, often with no clear destination. Pause here. Ask yourself, when was the last time you felt truly present with your own mind? Not just surviving the current, but stepping aside, settling onto the bank, and quietly observing what passes by. Who are you, really, beneath the rush of thoughts and emotions? What invisible hands are tugging the strings of your moods and your choices? These aren't abstract, philosophical riddles. They are questions that reach to the core of why so many of us, perhaps especially men in the middle of life, carrying both the scars and the responsibilities of adulthood, wake up some mornings and feel strangely absent from our own story. Maybe, like so many at the close of 2025, you sense the months slipping away, your goals untouched, a growing distance between the man you hope to become and the man staring back at you in the mirror. It's not a weakness. It's not failure. It's what happens when we live on autopilot, letting the river of our mind carry us wherever it wishes. The world doesn't make it easy to pause. Your calendar is packed. Your phone demands your attention. Your family needs your presence. And beneath all of it, there is that familiar ache. Am I actually in control of any of this? Here's where the ancient Stoics, men who knew chaos and hardship in ways both different and eerily familiar, offer a simple but radical act: the discipline of self-observation. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and soldier, wrote in the thick of Rome's decline, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." The Stoic doesn't wade into the river to fight the current. He sits on the bank, watches the water pass, and learns slowly, patiently, to distinguish between what is real and what is just debris. Why does this matter? Because self-observation is the root of every lasting change. You cannot steer your life if you don't know what's driving it. In a world obsessed with hacking habits, quick-fix productivity, and motivational sound bites, Stoicism asks for something deeper: honesty, not with the world, but with yourself. Try this now or tonight as your day winds down. Set aside 5 minutes. Turn off your phone, close your eyes, and let the river flow. Instead of getting swept up, simply watch. What thoughts keep returning? What feelings rise up again and again? What is their source? Perhaps you notice a flicker of irritation every time you see your co-worker's name. Maybe a knot of sadness when you think of your children growing older. Or a tension in your chest at the thought of another year passing, another goal postponed. The value of this practice isn't in the fixing, it's in the noticing. Take anger, for example, a familiar guest for many men juggling pressure at work and home. Most of us snap and regret it later, blaming stress or circumstance. But if you can sit beside the river, even for a moment, you can ask, why am I angry? What fear or hurt lies beneath this wave? Often the root is something older, a fear of being unappreciated, a worry about not measuring up, a silent doubt about your worth. When you see this, anger loses its grip. You become free to choose how to respond, not just react. Research backs this up. Modern studies on Stoic practice, including work by Modern Stoicism and recent clinical trials, McElheron et al. 2024, show that even brief daily self-observation decreases anxiety, improves emotional regulation, and increases satisfaction with life. These are not lofty promises. They are practical, measurable outcomes, the kind that change relationships, work performance, and self-esteem. Self-observation is also the gateway to knowing your real values. Honesty, kindness, perseverance, these words only mean something if you see where you fall short and where you have already made progress. Maybe you notice you avoid difficult conversations because you fear rejection, or that you procrastinate not out of laziness, but out of a terror of failing. Each observation is an invitation to realignment, to gradually bring your actions closer to your principles, to slowly become the man you aspire to be. And there's more. The habit of observing your own mind does something extraordinary for your relationships. When you recognize your own triggers and patterns, you become less reactive, more compassionate. Criticism at work or at home stings less. The pressure to please everyone fades. You stop living at the mercy of outside opinions. You start, perhaps for the first time in years, living in alignment with reason and what you know to be right. Remember, sitting beside the river is not a one-time ritual. It's a lifelong discipline, a quiet daily act that by the end of 2025 will have transformed the landscape of your mind. Each moment of observation is a small rebellion against chaos, a claim to ownership of your own story. So ask yourself tonight, tomorrow, And the next day, can I be the calm observer of my own river? The answer isn't always yes, but every time you try, you inch closer to self-mastery. In the next part of this guide, we'll explore how to build that mastery into your daily life through the essential discipline of self-control. Because it's not enough to observe the river, the next step is learning how to direct its course. 4. Understand the dichotomy of control. Have you ever found yourself exhausted at the end of a long day, not because of your work, but because of how much you tried to control? Maybe it's the outcome of a project, the opinion of your boss, the behavior of your children, or even the weather. You push, you plan, you worry, and still things slip through your fingers. There's a subtle sense of defeat that creeps in. Why can't I get everything in order? Why does life keep surprising me in ways I don't want? If that feels familiar, you're not alone. This is the default loop of modern life. We wake up already behind schedule. We try to anticipate every scenario, keep every ball in the air, and protect everyone we care about. Underneath all the busyness is often a deep fear, the fear of losing control, the fear that life will spin out in ways we can't handle. But what if this whole approach is backward? Here's where Stoicism plants its flag, a quiet, ancient invitation to see things differently. The Stoics, from Epictetus to Marcus Aurelius, taught one radical truth: not everything is up to you, and that's okay. The real art of living, they said, is learning to distinguish what is within your power from what is not. This is the dichotomy of control, the backbone of all Stoic practice. It's not just philosophy, it's a compass for finding calm and building real self-mastery in the storm. Let's pause and look closer. What is actually within your control? Your thoughts, your values, your attitude, your decisions. How you show up in the world, no matter the circumstances. What is not? How others behave, the weather, random events, the past. Even with the outcome of your best effort sometimes, the job goes to someone else, the relationship ends, the market crashes. The moment you see this split, something shifts. It's not about becoming passive or indifferent. It's about liberation. The Stoics called it freedom, the freedom to stop fighting the wind and start steering your own ship. When you stop investing energy in what you can't change, you regain the power to shape what truly matters, your character, your responses, your path forward. So, how do you put this into practice? Let's get real and break it down. Step 1. Morning meditation. Each morning before the world rushes in, sit for 5 minutes. Close your eyes and ask, what is truly within my control today? Maybe it's your effort at work, your patience with your family, your attention to the present moment. Name these things. Feel the boundary where your power begins and where it ends. Step 2. Action-based goals. Instead of focusing on results you can't guarantee, like getting promoted, commit to actions. I will improve my skills, deliver my best work, communicate honestly. Results may follow, but your self-worth no longer hangs on external outcomes. This is strength, not resignation. Step 3. Practice acceptance. When things don't go your way, pause and ask, did I give my best effort? If the answer is yes, let that be enough. Move your focus from winning to showing up with integrity. Acceptance isn't defeat, it's courage in its truest form. Let's make this real with a story. Last year, a friend spent weeks training for a challenging mountain hike. He planned every detail, visualized the summit, and prepared physically and mentally. But the day of the trip, a heavy storm rolled in, rain pouring, trails closed. The goal vanished in an instant. Frustration bubbled up, that old voice. Why me? Why now? But then, remembering the Stoic teaching, he paused. The weather wasn't his domain. His reaction was. Instead of anger, he gathered his group, shifted the plan, and they spent the day together cooking, laughing, and sharing stories. What could have been a day of disappointment became a memory of connection and resilience. The weather didn't determine their happiness, their attitude did. That's the power of understanding the dichotomy of control. When you let go of what you can't influence, you find peace. When you focus on your side of the equation, you grow stronger, more adaptable. Stress drops, energy returns. You become the kind of person others look to in chaos, not because you control everything, but because you don't have to. Consider this. You can't change how your manager sees you, but you can show up each day with professionalism, effort, and character. You can't make your kids listen to every word, but you can be patient and consistent. You can't stop the world from being unpredictable, but you can become someone who stands steady no matter what it throws at you. And what happens when you live this way? Really live it, not just recite it. Over time, anxiety fades. Self-trust grows. You stop chasing after every outcome and start investing in your daily actions, your progress, your process. The world is still wild, but you're not tossed by every wave. You're grounded. Stoicism isn't asking you to become a different person overnight. This is not a 30-day challenge or a magical transformation. It's a long journey, a path walked step by step, day by day. The first step is this realization. I can't change the world, but I can change myself. And every day you practice this principle, you rewrite your story. Bit by bit, you recreate yourself from the inside out. The dichotomy of control becomes your daily guide, helping you trade anxiety for calm and helplessness for power. Now it's your turn. Have you struggled to let go of what you can't control? What's one area of your life where this principle could set you free? Share your thoughts or stories in the comments. Your journey may inspire someone else to find their own calm in the chaos. 5. Practice voluntary discomfort. Imagine this. It's a chilly morning in late autumn, the end of 2025 drawing near. You stand barefoot on your porch, the cold seeping through the boards, prickling your skin. Every instinct urges you to rush back inside to warmth and comfort. But instead, you pause. You take a breath. For a moment, you simply let yourself feel the discomfort alive, raw, honest. What if this fleeting sensation, this self-chosen adversity, is not just a test, but a doorway? So much of modern life revolves around the pursuit of comfort. We are the generation of instant delivery, streaming, climate control, and tap to order. When pain, hunger, cold, or uncertainty arise, we retreat, reach for the nearest distraction, or numb ourselves with excess. Yet beneath all these layers of convenience, something grows quietly. A fear of difficulty, a shrinking resilience, a gnawing sense that we are growing softer while life inevitably remains hard. Seneca wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" Why such advice, you might wonder? Why would anyone deliberately court discomfort in a world that offers so many ways to avoid it? The answer is not about punishment or self-denial for its own sake. It's about forging strength before the storm comes, so that when life inevitably takes a turn, a job loss, a breakup, an illness, an unexpected bill, you are not broken by surprise. You are prepared. You may have felt it, that vague anxiety when your phone dies, when plans fall through, when you must wait, when you feel hunger, or when you face an unfamiliar challenge. In our avoidance of discomfort, we build a fragile shell. Yet what if, instead, we welcomed discomfort, not all the time, but in small, conscious doses? What if we saw it as a tool, a trainer, a friend? Consider the power of voluntary hardship. Fasting, for example, choosing to go a day or a meal without food, not because you have to, but because you want to master desire and appreciate abundance. Or try finishing your morning shower with 30 seconds of cold water. Notice your mind's resistance, then notice your capacity to breathe through it, to emerge a little more awake, a little less afraid. Imagine setting out to run when you don't feel like it, or tackling the most difficult task at work first, or saying no to an impulse purchase. Each of these is a small act of rebellion against your own comfort zone. Each one expands your inner world. This isn't just theory. Research from the Modern Stoicism Project, 2017 to 2024, shows that people who routinely practice voluntary discomfort, whether through physical training, fasting, cold exposure, or challenging routines, report lower levels of anxiety and a higher sense of control over their emotions. They are less likely to be rattled by unexpected adversity and more likely to recover quickly from setbacks. Wheat in practice, the less we bleed in battle. Take Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher whose very life was a masterclass in voluntary hardship. Born into slavery and crippled by his master's cruelty, Epictetus never chose comfort because comfort was never offered to him. Yet, instead of sinking into bitterness or despair, he used each moment of pain as training for his soul. He learned to see every limitation, every loss, as a unique lesson in self-mastery and gratitude. When he was mocked, he practiced patience. When he was denied freedom, he focused on mastering his own mind, not his circumstances. To Epictetus, adversity was not something to be avoided, but a daily opportunity to cultivate resilience and inner peace. His life proves that true strength isn't found in avoiding discomfort, but in facing it willingly, seeing each challenge as an invitation to grow. In every trial, he forged unbreakable calm from the fire of hardship. Maybe your own battle is not as dramatic. Maybe it's showing up to the office when you're exhausted, resisting that third cup of coffee, or facing a tough conversation at home. Maybe it's just standing in the cold for a few breaths, reminding yourself that you can choose how you meet discomfort. The benefits ripple out. You begin to notice gratitude for things you took for granted. A warm meal, a soft bed, a quiet evening. You find your fear of failure shrinking because you've practiced failing in safe, voluntary ways. You see yourself enduring more, not less. And you realize, strength isn't about never feeling pain. It's about knowing pain can't control you. So why practice voluntary discomfort as a Stoic? Because comfort, for all its appeal, is a poor teacher. Growth lives at the edge of struggle. By facing small, chosen hardships, you train your mind and body for the storms you cannot choose. You become not just more resilient, but more alive, more grateful, more awake. If you're reading this near the end of 2025 and you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or adrift, start here. Pick one thing each week to make just a little harder on purpose. Fast for a meal. Take a cold shower. Walk instead of driving. Write the difficult email. With every act, you're sending yourself a message. I am stronger than my comfort. I am willing to grow. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Voluntary discomfort changes your estimate of what is possible. You see yourself as capable. You know you can adapt. This practice won't solve every problem, but it will change you. Inch by inch, you will become the kind of person who meets life's chaos with calm, who sees fear and steps forward anyway, who greets challenge not as a threat, but as a chance to train for what truly matters. The path is simple, not easy, but the end of this year could be your new beginning. Try it. You might discover you are so much stronger and so much more at peace than you ever imagined. 6. Cultivate daily reflection and gratitude. Let's pause for a moment. Picture this. It's late in the year. The sky outside your window is already dark at 6 p.m. and you're sitting alone at your desk, work emails closed. The noise of the day finally fading. Maybe there's a glass of water by your side. Maybe your phone's face down for once. And for a few rare minutes, you are left with nothing but yourself and your thoughts. How often do we let ourselves be still like this? If you're like most men navigating the back half of life, juggling career, family, and invisible expectations, you know how quickly a day slips away, how fast a year disappears. In the rush, we don't just lose time, we lose ourselves. Our victories get drowned out by what's next. Our mistakes, left unexamined, harden into habits. We tell ourselves we'll reflect later, but later rarely comes. Here's a truth the Stoics knew. The only way to remake yourself is to notice the raw material you're working with every single day. Marcus Aurelius, ruler of an empire, filled page after page not with his triumphs, but with questions for himself. Where did I do well? Where did I fall short? What can I learn? What can I change? This practice, known today as the evening review, is deceptively simple, yet it is the foundation on which Stoic transformation is built. Why reflect at all? Because unexamined days become unexamined years. Because real change is not made in the fireworks of resolutions, but in the quiet, honest inventory of what's real. Did I act with courage today, or did I let fear dictate my choices? Did I show patience, or let irritation take over at home? It's not about self-judgment. It's about self-honesty. When Ryan Holiday, the best-selling author who brought Stoicism back into the mainstream, first began keeping a nightly journal, he wasn't trying to be profound. He was simply trying not to lose track of himself. And as he once shared in the Daily Stoic, this small ritual is what kept him grounded, especially during times when the outside world felt overwhelming. You don't need fancy notebooks, expensive planners, or an Instagram-perfect mindfulness routine. Start with 5 quiet minutes at the end of your day. Sit down, breathe. Ask yourself 3 things. What did I do today that I am proud of? Did I keep my temper when my kid spilled juice all over the floor? Did I finally have the tough conversation I'd been avoiding? Did I just get up and show up despite wanting to quit? Where did I fall short of my own standard? Did I snap at my partner? Did I waste another hour scrolling instead of calling a friend? Did I break a promise to someone else or to myself? What or who am I grateful for right now? The deal that didn't fall through, the friend who checked in, the moment I remembered to breathe instead of breaking. This isn't about judging yourself or crafting a highlight reel. It's about witnessing your own life with the eyes of someone who wants to grow, no matter how many times you've stumbled before. You might wonder, does this really work? Science says yes. A 2021 study on self-reflection training found that when individuals actively reflected on how they successfully handled past stresses, their psychological resilience noticeably improved. Participants who engaged in structured self-reflection exercises, reviewing moments they managed adversity, reported a stronger sense of control and emotional stability over time. The research highlighted that focusing on effective coping strategies rather than dwelling on failures rewired their mindset to become more adaptable and confident in facing future challenges. This evidence reinforces the Stoic practice of evening review. By acknowledging our strengths and growth, we build a deeper inner fortitude day by day. Still skeptical? Let's look at someone closer to home. Take John Wooden, the legendary basketball coach. Wooden, hailed for his unmatched discipline and leadership, was well known for his nightly ritual of reflection and gratitude. Despite enormous pressure and the glare of the public eye, Wooden took time every evening to write down what he was thankful for. Moments with his family, lessons from defeat, small kindnesses from players or staff. He often told his team, "Things turn out best for the people who make the best of the way things turn out." Wooden's practice wasn't about ignoring hardship, but about focusing his mind on the value within each day. Like a modern Stoic, he believed that gratitude and honest reflection built the inner resilience needed not just to win games, but to navigate life's toughest stretches. And what about you? Imagine yourself a few months from now. The world outside may still be chaotic. Bills still need paying. Family still needs your presence. But inside, something subtle has shifted. Because every night you've carved out a space, a habit where you see yourself honestly. You recognize the tiny victories, you learn from actions, but the way you perceive your whole life. You start meeting problems with a steadier hand. You hold setbacks with perspective, not panic. And in moments of peace, you realize you're not just surviving, you're quietly becoming someone new. Gratitude and reflection are not accessories to a Stoic life. They are the scaffolding. They teach you that resilience isn't a one-time act of heroism, but a muscle built through small, honest reckonings with yourself, day by day. They remind you that happiness is never found by wishing for different circumstances, but by recognizing the value in what is right here, right now. So tonight, before you let the day slip away, take 5 minutes. Review, reflect, give thanks. You don't need to be a philosopher, a writer, or a star. You just need to be willing. Let daily reflection and gratitude be your compass. By the time this year closes, you won't just have survived 2025. You'll have quietly, bravely rebuilt yourself from the inside out. Recreating yourself through Stoicism is not a quick fix, but a lifelong journey of conscious action and steady progress, one you can start right now. The 6 principles we explored Observation, self-control, life purpose, focus, understanding what you can control, and daily reflection are more than a checklist for 2025. They're a blueprint for resilience, clarity, and inner peace that will serve you for years to come. If you're ready to become the master of your mind and the author of your own life, set clear goals, make your action plan, and stay committed step by step, day by day. Thank you for watching. If you found this guide helpful, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to check out the next video at the end for more Stoic insights on your journey of transformation.